everyone, and welcome to another Transformers review with me, Exin Ferris. Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Planet X Coeus, that's PX-22. I got this figure in about a week ago, and I've been sort of messing around with it for, most of that time. And I have to say, I really like this. It is my first Planet X figure. I bought 3 from the same seller on AliExpress, but this is the one that I opened first, so I'm calling it my first one. So yeah, I have to say I'm very impressed with it. It is really cool. So yeah, let's have a look around the box as always. I do like the design for these boxes. I have been sort of eyeing up Planet X for a while now. I know that Paddy and Simon have got some of these figures, and I kind of felt a bit left out, so I thought I'd grab some. They were stunningly good prices on AliExpress, so I grabbed a few just to see what they were like, and then I went back and bought some more. So yeah, there might be some more of these reviews coming your way, so depends what Paddy and Simon have already reviewed. So yes, the box is absolutely gorgeous. It's slightly damaged, but I'm not really massively bothered about that. I might keep these boxes because they're quite nice. So yeah, it's basically got Shockwave's chest on the front there. So yeah, that's that. That's one arm. That's his back. That's his left arm. Nothing on the bottom, and just some warnings on the top. So yeah, I mean, it's a simple box, but I think it's quite effective. I do rather like it. So yeah, so that's that. That's pretty much all there is to say about this box. So I will get him out and we'll have a closer look at the figure. Right, so here's Coeus out of his box, and yeah, I don't know if it's just me, but you remember that old song Rock Me Amadeus? Right, and then they re-released it as Dr. Zaius from the Planet of the Apes. I can't help but have that go through my head now, but replacing a Dr. Zaius bit with Dr. Coeus, it's stuck in there now. I can't get rid of it, and it's probably going to be stuck in your head now, so sorry about that. But yeah, anyway, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. So this is basically how he comes out of the box. So let's see what he comes with. So he comes with his instructions, and they're okay. I wasn't sure on a couple of steps. There's a bit where you have to bend his legs, and I couldn't quite figure out the exact way you're supposed to do that. So I have to admit, I went on the old Tinternet and had a look, because I couldn't work it out. But yeah, those are the instructions. Quite nice. They're on quite a thick piece of paper, actually, nice glossy paper. So that's that. And he comes with a collector's card, which I always appreciate because I love these things. So you can see it's Planet X Coeus PX-22. Really, really nice bit of artwork there. And there's all his tech specs on the back, and a cat hair, because of course. I feel like his intelligence should be further up than this. Who is smarter than Shockwave? It should be like right up the top. Sorry, that's speed. It should be right up here. Yeah, anyway, there you go. So that's nice, and this one is a nice sort of credit card sort of stock. I bought, what did I get? I got Asclepius, which is Perceptor, and Mors, which is Starscream, and they're quite early ones, and they both come with a really flimsy, horrible card. I do not care for that. This is much nicer, so thanks Planet X for doing this. This is great. He also comes with a little baggie, and inside the baggie you get this massive gun. We'll have a closer look at this in a minute, but that came as it is. And you get this fantastic blast effect, which I really like. You can plug this piece into this piece, and you get this, which is it's great. I really like this. It's great fun. You stick it in the back in the alt mode, and it looks fantastic. But you will see that in a bit. So there's that. And obviously you get Coeus himself, which is Shockwave. I'm just going to call him Shockwave from here on out. And it's a really nice figure. I do have to say I do really like this figure. I did have an issue with his hands in that they were so stiff I had to put a small screwdriver in and pry them open, which I wouldn't recommend, by the way. Because, yeah, I don't know how fragile these figures are. So it was a bit sort of squeaky bum time doing that. But it seems to be okay, but they are really, really stiff. So it does look really good. But before we get into the figure, let's have a look at this gun. So let's put him over there. So this is a whole thing. You can do a few different things with it. I'm not going to run down all the things you can do. I think it's in the instructions. Oh, there's you know, there's a few other videos that will go through the whole thing, but my videos are long enough as it is without me going through all the things that this can do. So when it came like this in a little baggie, and these coil pieces here, they were in here like that, and then they were plugged into here. But after I transformed it a couple of times, I can't get the blasted thing back in. I don't know how I did it, how it was in there in the first place, but every time I try and squeeze it in, it pops back out again. So I'm not quite sure what I've done there. But anyway, it comes like that, only plugged in. So you need to move them for when you're doing a transformation. But for the mode where he has it as his gun arm, I'm not massively happy with the way that it all fits together. So what you do is you pop his hand off. It's only on a peg, and then you lift this piece up. I'm just going to take these bits off because they are going to keep falling off. You can see there's a little hole there, and then there's a tab here which tabs into the top of his arm, but try as I might, I can't find anything to peg into the bottom of his arm, so it's not massively stable. So you put that in there, and then you put the tab in like so, and it does hold. It's not, I was going to say it's not going to fall off easy, but that's the first time that's done that, if I'm honest. But you see what I mean? It's not massively stable. So that's one of those things that, you know, if you're putting it on like that, just be aware that it might drop off. I'm not keen on that. I would have liked some way to plug it in at the bottom as well, so you had a solid connection. That's pretty much my only gripe for it otherwise, but yeah, I'm not keen on that. So I was just sort of mucking about with it. I hadn't read the instructions properly, and then I noticed this. And this makes me so happy. It really does, because you can do this. And I don't care how much you like the game, that's probably the way I'm going to display mine, because I love that. I think that's great. I think Shockwave should always have one of these. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. But that's probably just me. I mean, I love the games, don't get me wrong, and that big cannon thing, that's great in the game. But for me, that makes a Shockwave figure, that. So yeah, I was really happy with that. And I like the fact that it's clear plastic as well. So going back to the rest of this, there are a couple of things you can do with it, but mainly it's just that you can take this off and put that on there. I'm not really keen on that. And then you can take the blast effect and you can pop that in that bit like that, and that's mental. it's fine, you know. It actually looks quite good, but it is mental. And it does hold in, actually, holds in really well. And I have to say with this figure that the joints, some of the joints are tighter than I would like, especially the ones on the hip joints. I don't care for those at all. But in terms of being able to hold heavy things, he can without a problem, so I'm happy with that. So you can do that. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can mount all these pieces on, but obviously you are really meant to just sort of have it, you know, like that. When mine came out of the box, I will say mine was attached, I think, that way around. So yeah, and in order to get it to work in the alt mode, you need it this way. So you need that large tab to be at the top, because you need to tab the legs into these two pieces. So yeah. Actually, something I haven't tried. Let me put this back on here. Let's see. I wonder if that will stay attached if you put the blast effect on, or if it's going to make it fall off. No, that's holding. Oh, okay. Yeah, alright. I wasn't sure if that was going to work, but yeah, it does. Okay, well, I'm happy with that. So then you can do... Actually, I'll leave it on there. You can, you know, in the game, sort of bits sort of keep randomly sort of opening and closing, don't they? And panels move and whatnot, even if you're just standing there. So you can open some of these bits up if you want to. Let's bring this out a bit. It's going to come off now because I moved it. It's going to come off. I'll take it off. I'll take it off. But you can open these pieces up a little bit, so you can have that look, you know, in the game of the bits opening and closing, if you want to do that. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Right, I'm going to leave it at that for this piece, because we will come back to it shortly when we do the transformation. I don't want to spend any more time on that. So let's get down to the figure. I'm going to put this one back on for a minute. So the figure itself, yes, I do really like him, but he does have well, a couple of issues, I'm going to say. I find his joints to be far too tight, and it's just a little bit worrying. It does ever so slightly hinder the transformation around the leg area, the hips by here, because it's just, they're so stiff and you have to move them to a certain point. They are just now starting to loosen up a wee bit, but they're still very tight. But otherwise, I think this is a really decent Shockwave. So let's have a closer look at him. Just move the camera up a wee bit. Get it nice and close. Yeah, he looks really good. There's some nice use of clear plastic here as well, which I think is nice. It doesn't go over the top with it, you know, it's just a few bits here and there. And for people who don't like clear plastic, it's not in any places where you need to flex or, you know, move anything. There are the non-transformable parts, I should say. So there's a bit by him, there's a bit on his eye there. But overall, I think this is a really good looking Shockwave. Like I say, it's got a little bit of clear plastic in there. There is no light piping though, which is a shame, because I think they probably could have done some light piping there. And having said that, it does look like his head opens up. That's not in the instructions either. I wonder if that's something you can actually do. I'll have a play with that in a bit and come back to you and let you know if that's something you can do. There's a bit in the front, obviously, and I think that's a place where you really should have some. And there's a couple of bits, there's one bit on either arm there, and there's a bit on the undersides of his feet. So it's used sparingly, I would say. Paint apps wise, it's basically shades of purple and grey, but you know, that's Shockwave's colours, isn't it? So, but he's done in this really nice metal flake finish, so he's really sparkly. He looks great. And you get some sort of almost a rose gold colour going on here, and then here as well. It's just sort of picked out all over the place, you know, with some like gunmetal grey paint there. They've even, I'll do this way, they've even painted the insides of his legs, the pistons, or the springs here rather, these are all done in that sort of rose gold colour. There's a couple more, there's a couple more pieces of clear plastic here and here on the knees. But yeah, mainly purple and grey. Shockwave, innit? So, there's a bits down the back. It's all done really nicely. It's a really good looking figure. This is definitely going to be one of my favourite Shockwave figures. I'm not saying it's the favourite. That still goes to the lemon tree. That's even with the issue that I had with that one. I'd still say that's my favourite Shockwave figure that I own. But yeah, articulation wise, he's pretty well articulated. His head is on a couple of hinges, so it goes up and down, and then it's sort of it's on a hinge and a swivel, so it goes up and down and around. That means you don't really get any sort of quizzical side to side, which is a little bit of a shame, because I always quite like it, you know, if you can move Shockwave's head to a point where he's going, hey. it's just, like I say, it's fine. So you can get his arms to go all the way around, and they go up and down at the shoulder joints. They also move in and out. It's a nice little butterfly joint there. He has upper arm rotation, a little over 90 degrees at the elbow. I'll go to this side. He does have rotation at the wrist, and it moves in and out as well. It's mainly due to transformation, but you know, it's there, so it's good. The fingers are hinged here and here, but like I say, they are horribly stiff, so I'm just going to leave them as they are for now. Your mileage may vary on these, but who did I watch? I think it was Ben from Ben's Collectibles. I think he said he had the same issue there, so just be aware of that. I did force it, but I wouldn't recommend it. So he's got waist rotation. There's no ab crunch or anything there. His legs are extremely stiff, but they can go all the way up and all the way back. That's too tight. I don't like how tight that is. I had a really tight piece on the lemon tree as well, and I took it apart and fixed it. But that's for the other video anyway. His legs can go out that far. He does have some rotation at that joint there. His knees are on a double joint, so you get that amount of bend. They also go the other way, but that's for transformation. But I mean, if you wanted to sort of, you know, move his knees to that sort of position, you can do. And then his feet go back and forwards. They do have some tilt on them, and the piece on the back also, I've done that a couple of times as well, also has a small amount of tilt on it. So articulation wise, he's pretty good. It's a bit awkward getting him standing with his slightly tight joints though, but it's not too bad. Oh, and if you want to, you can move these wing sections. They have a couple of points on them where you can move them. So if you want to bring them out like that, or you can push them further in, you know, whatever you desire. So there's that. I've done his legs wrong here. I don't know what I've done. Oh yes, his knee does have a rotation joint on it as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So there's that. Right, so for comparison, let's pop him there. Why is he not standing? He's mucked up his knee joints now, so he doesn't want to stand properly. Come on, buddy. There we go, that'll do. Right, Nope, come on, stand. Stand, man, stand. There we go. Right, comparison. Put this back up here. Here is my original Arms Micron version. They are actually quite similar in a lot of ways. I mean, obviously they're based off the same character, so there's going to be a fair amount of similarities. But yeah, I mean, there's an obvious price difference, although I did get this one from Japan, so it was a little bit more expensive. I can't even remember if they released this one in the West, but anyway, it wasn't, I don't think, it didn't come out at the same time as the rest of the figures. This came out in the Prime line, in their Arms Micron figure line, so yeah, I don't know if it was released over here. So there's that. Here he is with Quake Blast. It's one of my favourite Shockwaves, and Quake Blast is quite a bit bigger. But you know, I mean, it's still recognisably Shockwave, isn't it? So yeah, so it looks quite good. I can't do the comparison with the Lemon Tree because it's in its vehicle mode at the minute, and I am not transforming it. I'm going to leave it as it is because it's just a nightmare. Right, speaking of transformations, let's get down to this one. Right, so before we start, we're going to have to take this off because you can't transform him with that attached, so I should just put his other hand back on. Close it up first. Close this one up. I mean, you can transform them without the hands on at all, you don't really need to have the hands on. So, alright, so there we are there. Just, that's better. Right, so what you want to do is you want to start with the arms, and you're going to unpeg this side piece here, like so. It's just on a little post there, and then you're going to unclip the flap this side, and you're going to rotate this all around. Push the hand in, close the flap up. And just straighten the arm for the moment, and then you're going to do the same the other side, so that's already unpegged itself. Unpeg this piece, flip it all the way around, close it back up again. Just make sure that's in there properly. Okay, yeah, that one doesn't want to go in because it's not closed up properly. Hold on a sec, just close that fist up. Oh god, that's so tight, I really don't like that. And there we go, close that up. That's that. Right, now you just need to unpeg the arms, and they're just clipped in here and here, so just pull that down, and that, and then come around to the back, just unfold these, and then you unclip that whole section there, and then just rock it up like so. And what you're going to do here is this piece here needs to come out, so you push down on the head and it pushes this out, and you just unfold it like so. At this point you can rotate this piece around, so just unclip it and rotate, and then just bring the wings out of the way for the minute. Right, then you're gonna bring the arms back up, and you're going to rotate them. I'm gonna tell a lie, no, you're gonna leave them that way. There is a slot here that this tab will go into, and that's the same on both sides. So bring them up. There's also that piece there will just go into that slot down there, so bring them both up and just get them lined up. Move those arms out of the way and just push them in. This can be a wee bit fiddly, but there we go. You can hear them clip in, so that's that, like that. Then you're going to want to bring these arms down, and you're going to, why is that doing that now? You've got to rotate them. Yeah, hold on, that way. So they're like that, and you're going to want to rest them just sort of on the top here. There's a There's a little piece there. It'll just sort of rest like that. It doesn't clip into anything because you're going to do that in a second with the wings. So we come back to the top, and then there's two pieces here and here that you just need to unpeg, and then you just rock them backwards, and they're going to repeg into these two ports here, like so, and that will keep that piece in place. Then what you're going to do here is on the arm there is a slot here and a tab here, and you're just going to slot that in there, and you do that on both sides. Let's see, there's the slot there, tab there, and you should have something that looks like this. Then what you're going to do here is you're going to rotate these wings back down, and you can see there is a port here and a tab here, and you need to rock this so that this tab goes in this hole, and this is a bit I'm not keen on, because you do have to flex this around, and I wasn't quite sure I was doing it right the first time. So you have to sort of pull it out and then flex it down, sort of rock it down until it just sits in there. Pretty sure they could have done that differently, or at least, you know, so you didn't have to flex anything. So you have to do that on both sides. So it comes down, and it's the same, just rocks and fits in like that, and then that keeps that whole section sturdy. Right, then you want to come down to the legs, and at this point you want to rotate at the waist like so. And this was another bit I wasn't sure on. So you need to unpeg this from this side, untab I should say, open it all the way up, just go past the feet there, and then the instruction says to pull this piece outwards, and I tried doing that, but I can't. There's no sort of, it's not on a slider or anything. It's another bit where you sort of have to sort of just flex it. So what you do is you rotate this sort of round, and you flex this whole bit all the way around here, and then there is this peg that is meant to go in this hole, and I found this a little bit challenging, mainly because you can't see it. Because once you get it to there, you can't see it. But that having been said, I should have found the right spot for it. No, it's not going to go. Again, this is another bit that I find just a little bit fiddly. Actually, I think it's probably in there about as far as it's going to go. It should. You should hear it like peg in. I'm not sure if it's in there. It is in there, but it's not. Let's try the other side. So it's the same thing, so just unpeg it from the inside. There's also a tab at the bottom as well you need to unpeg. Rotate it around, flex a lot of stuff that you don't really want to flex. Rotate, and that should hopefully go in there. Yeah, so it's gone in that side quite easy, but it doesn't want to go in this side. I think that's because the way I have the legs, you have to get the knee joints in just the right place, or else it just doesn't quite go in. And I've seen other people do this, and it's really easy for them, so I don't know why I'm finding it so difficult. It's just a matter of, there we go, right, it's gone in now. Okay, there we are, so that's that. Right, now at this stage you can push, if you haven't already accidentally done it, push that heel section upwards, do that on both sides, and bring the foot forwards like that, and then you're going to leave that for a second, because now you need the gun piece. And what we're doing here is we're just going to unfold it. So you take this piece, you unfold like this, and then you unfold this piece, and then you rotate this section around, so you end up with this, and we'll straighten it out when we've got it in place, because you probably will knock it a bit. So what we do here now then is you take this piece here and you flip it over, and that post is going to go in this port here. So you sling this all underneath and just pop that in there, and that will give you the idea of where you're going with this. And then there is another, let me take it out. There's another, I'll get this out eventually. There's another post here that's going to go in and it's back in here. So actually that's probably easy, let's do that first. And then here you've got another peg here that's going to go all the way up in here. So get this straightened out like so, and then that whole thing goes in there. Make sure that's pegged in there, and then re-tab that in there because it will have come out. So that's that bit. Now you need to, and this is the bit I found a bit awkward because of the stiffness of the joints. What you need to do here now is this tab needs to go in this slot, and this tab needs to go in this slot here, but you have to have the legs at the right angle, and with that being so stiff at the hip joints, it makes it a little bit awkward to get it in the right place. I imagine that with multiple transformations this will ease up a bit. So you need to also get the knees in the right position so everything lines up. So again, it's just a little bit of moving a bit here and a bit there and trying to get everything to line up. Right, so that's that side. Sorry. So that's that. No, it's not going in. Oh, come on. It's this knee joint. It's always this knee joint gives me trouble every single time because it's so tight. Oh, flipping heck. That's all come off. Hold on a minute, I'm just going to try and do this bit off camera, so just bear with me a sec. Right, sorry about that, it was just too awkward for me doing it in front of the camera there. I needed to get it a bit closer to me. Right, then once you've got that plugged in, like so, you need to come to the underside, and there's a tab here that's going to go in here, and a tab here that's going to go in here. And hopefully that should finish your alt mode. Yep, there we go. So that's it in alt mode, and I think it's quite good. It's a decent alt mode. My only gripe is, and the thing that I dislike the most, is his head just sticking out the top there. I can't remember if that's accurate to the video game or not. It may well be. If it is, then I apologise, but I don't really care for that like that. But as you can see, it's nice. It's a good size actually. It's a pretty decent size figure, and it's masterpiece scale. So, and you can just see a few more bits that are shown now that you couldn't really see in the robot mode. Just basically bits on the legs there, the underside of the feet. Not his head, obviously, because you could see that before. So yeah, it's decent. Fiddly in places, but decent. I have to admit, it's probably the last time it's going to be in this mode. Don't really keep my Transformers in their alt modes, so well, yeah, it's a good looking one. It does look pretty good. There's no articulation in this mode, unless you count the bits at the back. But you can you can flare them out, and I do actually think this looks pretty cool. So if you flare all those out, and then you get this, let's move the camera a bit, you get this blast effect, you can plug that in there, and I for one think that that looks pretty nifty. So you can have him blasting off somewhere. So yeah, I do like that. I like the way that looks a lot. But if you don't want that in there, you don't have to have it in there. You can still put it in the front. So you can have him firing on something. Although I do rather think that it makes for a better, you know, like a energon exhaust than it does for, you know, like a blast effect. But, you know, personal preference. And then I've just realised that I forgot to put these pieces back on, so let's get those. Was the other one gone? These little hose pieces. So yeah, ideally you want to do this before you've transformed it, but I forgot. So you basically, it goes, pop those in there, and then that bit goes in there, like so. And this is a lot easier to get in than in the other, and that way you use it in robot mode. That fits in a lot better. That just sort of finishes off that piece there, which I think looks pretty good. And then if you want to store it, you can take the barrel piece and you can pop it back there, like that. So kind of looks like he's you know, firing out of his backside. You can't put the blast effect on there, but so yeah, it's decent. It's a nice alt mode. So for comparison, I'll just put that there. Let's move the camera a little bit. There's that, and there is the ARMS Micron version. Yeah, there's not much in it really. It looks pretty similar. The only thing that I think that the ARMS Micron version does better is this whole piece flips over. Let me show you. I'll just unplug his arms here. So this whole piece where his head is, so where that is there now, that whole thing flips over. And now I know that it does mean that you end up with a couple of screw holes here, but I think that's much tidier than just having his head stuck out the top like on the Planet X version. Can't get that to go back in now. You get the idea. Yeah, I would have preferred if they could have done something like that. But like I say, this might be more game accurate, and if it is, then you know, then fine. That's the way it's meant to be. I just personally prefer that tidier like that. But there's that. Let me bring in a lemon tree. So this is the one I looked at last. I think these alt modes compare pretty well because they're both ships. So yeah. So it's a little bit shorter, but then to be fair, the robot mode is shorter as well. So there's that. So yeah, overall, I think this is a decent figure. The alt mode's good. No, it's fine. It's a decent alt mode. There's a couple of things I would have changed personally. I would have made this easier to plug in where it does. The whole arm, you know, the cannon unfurling is fine, but it doesn't really plug in anywhere very steadily until you've got it all tapped together, which can be a bit of a faff. Said about the head, and you know, the connection with the cannon with the arm when it's in robot mode, that could have been better as well. But otherwise I like it. I think it's a really nice figure. Like I say, I got this from AliExpress, and it was $89, so it was somewhere around 65 quid. So yeah, good price I think for this sort of figure. So I think that's it. I think I've covered pretty much everything. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Fingers on plastic.